Welcome back to this playthrough for Batman Arkham City, and as I was just about to get ready to start the next DLC, I realized there was one achievement that I could do theoretically by resetting the date on my computer, and I completely forgot about it. But basically, visiting Calendar Man and talking to him on different holidays. So I've set the date to January 1st, 2021, right now.
What's going on in this place?
So let's just jump on over to the courthouse and go see if me setting the date manually triggers that scene.
Man in here. That freak doesn't know when to quit.
Not wrong.
Come on, stop snowing.
Alright.
Batman! He's here!
Seriously? Alright, you want to get beat up? Bring
Get
it
over
on.
here, Bat! Or are you scared?
Oh, okay.
I remember this place back before they built a wall around it. Sucked then, too.
I'll leave you alone. I'll leave you alone.
"30 days has November, April, June, and September. Of 28 is but one. All the rest are 31. Of course, leap year comes and slays. Every 4 years got it right. And 28 is 29.
Alright, talk to me.
New Year's Day. Should old acquaintance be forgot and all that. I made sure she wouldn't forget me that day, didn't I, Batman? It was the first New Year's party I'd been invited to in a long time. But then I wasn't really invited, was I? The restraining order saw to that. Still, she and I had been close, or so I believed. And a new year means a new start. I admit, stepping into a crowded ballroom with a flamethrower was a bit dramatic. But what better way to melt the ice at a party? Perhaps she should have taken that cup of kindness from me when I first offered.
Okay, I mean, he's a bit of a messed up character, but I mean, why would he be locked up and not say, oh, I don't know, Zaz, who's a far more dangerous character? Anyway, that's January 1st. Let's get the next day going.
30 days have September.
Alright, this is February 14th, Valentine's Day.
Oh, Valentine's Day. Hearts and flowers. The perfect occasion to smother my new love with tokens of affection. I chose a dozen red roses, an assortment of truffles, and a darling little lacy thing. Excuse me. I didn't mean to be so intimate. You might say I'd overdone it. And in truth, at that point, my love and I had not actually met. Ever the romantic, I followed her to her apartment. Loudly proclaiming my love, I drowned out her screams of protest. Sadly, it was not to be. So instead of smothering her with gifts, I simply smothered her.
Okay, he's a bit of a freak. Alright, so that's Valentine's Day. Next day on the list. Alright, now we have March 17th, or St. Patrick's Day. That's the
30
date on my
days
computer.
has November, April, June, and September.
Yep.
March 17th, the day set aside for St. Patrick, the holy man who drove the snakes from Ireland. Interesting thing about snake venom, Batman. Some are green, just like the dye used to make green beer. That made it all the easier when I hosted that St. Patty's Day party for my old gang. As you remember, one of my henchmen tried to tip you off. I wasn't sure which one had done it, so I decided to punish them all. 1 dose of green mamba venom into the beer keg, and they were soon rotting under the shamrocks. So I guess that makes you responsible for their deaths, too. I'll drink to that.
Okay. Alright, moving on. Here we go for
30
April
days
1st,
has November,
April Fool's Day.
April, June, and September. Well, Batman. You listened well. You appear to understand the importance of dates, don't you? Let me tell you about this day of fools. I remember clearly that I watched her for days, waiting for the perfect moment. It was cold that March. It felt like spring would never come. They drank coffee, and she confessed her life lacked surprises. For 6 more days, I watched. April 1st, 5:22 a.m. I finished cutting through the brake lines of her car. From the camera I placed on her dash, I saw her panic. My only regret? She couldn't hear me yell, "Surprise."
That's messed up. That's really messed up. Alright, next date. Alright, this is one of the days that can change depending on what year you put in. So I put in for Mother's Day, and this is 2021, so it's May 9th. So if you're using a different
All the
year,
rest are 31.
it may not
Of
work.
course,
So anyway,
leap
May
year
9th,
comes
2021,
and stays.
Mother's Day.
Every 4 years, got it right. And M was for the murderous look she gave me. O meant only she was weak and old. T is for her terror as she fought me. H is for her heart that I now hold. E is for her eyes swiftly dimming. R means rot, and soon rotting she will be. Put them all together, they spell mother, a word that means a corpse to me. Happy Mother's Day, Mommy.
Yep. He's a freak. Alright. Here we go for the next day. Okay, another floating holiday. This time Father's Day, which is June 20th of 2021.
Of 28 is but one. All the rest are 31. Of course, leap year come. I wasn't real close to my dad, and after my first internment at Arkham, he never spoke at all. Seems he wrote me off as a wacko, loser. So, after I was released, I wanted to clear the air between us. The next Father's Day, I dropped by his place and suggested we go fishing. You ever go fishing with your pop? Well, it's some fun, let me tell you. The two of us out on the water, pulling in one whopper after another. Of course, I was doing the actual pulling. Dad was baiting the hooks. You know, with a finger, a foot, an eye. Whatever I had left of him. Even today, whenever I eat a nice piece of fish, I feel closer to my dear old dad.
That's messed up. Alright. Next date. Alright, technically we already did this, like I think on the very first day I played. It was July 4th, but for the sake of this video, we'll put all the dates together, so
28
it's 4th of July again.
All the rest are 31. Explosives planted at every exit and beneath this cell itself. What better way to celebrate Independence Day? My independence, of course, from Arkham. Unfortunately, I decided to be clever about it and had a calendar sent to police headquarters with the month of July ripped out. You figured it out right away and arrived just as the fireworks were starting. You stopped me from escaping, but not before the fire swept through the intensive care ward. But then, what's the 4th of July without a barbecue?
Actually, think about it. They have all the dates circled here on the
30
calendar.
days hath September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31.
Alright, so
except
August 16th
for
is the next
February
one.
alone, which has 28, rain or shine.
Okay, I could have sworn I read on the calendar the 20th, but
30 days has
it says
November,
August 16th for
April,
this
June,
holiday,
and
so let's
September.
just
Of
see what
28
happens
is
for
but
August
one.
16th.
All the rest are 31. Of course, leap year comes and slays.
That was
Every
the
4
16th.
years, got it right.
Must have just completely read
And
it wrong.
28 is 29. Do you remember that wonderfully hellish August, Batman? Packs of mad dogs swarming the furnace-hot streets, savaging everyone in their path. One bite, and humans were reduced to crazed animals themselves. Good times. Though Crane provided me with the hydrophobia formula, I had the presence of mind to release the hounds on August 16th, the feast day of St. Roach, patron saint of dogs. An obscure date, I know, but I couldn't imagine a better way to celebrate the dog days of summer.
Okay, that's actually pretty clever. Where I saw 20 at. Anyway, this says September 6th is the next one. We shall see.
30 days hath September.
Yet another floating holiday. This one being September 6th, which is Labor Day. September 6th, 2021, specifically Labor Day in the U.S. But I wonder how they would handle this date in, international markets, since this is an American holiday. Poor Brits or Aussies and whatnot would be completely, totally confused as to what to put in here.
Early September. Kids headed back to school, leaves starting to turn, and best of all, Labor Day. Like the year I posed as a construction laborer and drove a bulldozer through the gold exchange. Or the year I referenced the labors of Hercules and released lions, bulls, and wild boars upon Gotham. Better than a circus. Even you have to admit last Labor Day was my most inspired. Laying siege to that hospital maternity ward? You labored mightily yourself that day. Saved every one of them. Well, there's always next year.
Okay. Actually, spy with my good eye. Oh yeah, Halloween's next. Nice.
30 days has November.
My favorite holiday of the year.
September, April, June, and November. All the rest have
Batman's too, probably.
except for February. Boo. Funny thing, Halloween in Arkham. It seems redundant here. Within these walls, the monsters are on display year-round. Of course, there was that one year Joker led a breakout on All Hallows Eve. What a wonderful night. Costumed revelers innocently partying alongside killers and fiends. Of course, the real screams came when it was time to unmask. Trick or treat.
So Thanksgiving's on the 25th. Now I do have to ask, who's actually coming out here and marking his calendar for him? Since, you know, he's stuck in there. Moving on. Alright, this is the last of the floating holidays, that being Thanksgiving.
June and November. All the rest have 31.
So,
Except for
November
February
25th,
alone.
2021
To
is
which
coming
we
out.
20. You know, I always feel a little lonesome in November. I think that's because even the worst of us enjoy a good old-fashioned family Thanksgiving. I know I did a few years back when I dropped in unannounced on Turkey Day. All those surprised faces around the table. Mom and Dad could hardly believe it. Mind you, I don't know whose mom and dad they were. I was on the run and needed a place to lay low. That family, whoever they were, could certainly cook. Stuffing and gravy and pumpkin pie to die for. Unfortunately, they did. Like I said, always feel lonesome in November.
All right. One more date to go. All right, here's the last day, Christmas Day.
April, June, and November. All the rest have 31. Except Ebenezer Scrooge was a saint compared to old Judge Harkness. Remember him, Batman? Gotham's hanging judge, they called him. Even though the state had ruled me insane, Harkness swore he'd send me to the gallows. So you see, it was all a simple act of self-preservation. I could hardly be held responsible for strangling that street corner Santa Claus for his suit. I needed the disguise to sneak into the judge's Christmas Eve party. Harkness thought it was all in fun, until Saint Nick caught him around the neck with a string of Christmas lights. The cops found him later, hanging from the elaborate light display of his own roof. Judgy almost looked like a cartoon himself, alongside the comical reindeer, elves, and snowmen. I call that murder my Christmas special.
All right, so that's it for all the Calendar Man murderous dates. There basically are 4 floating holidays that you'd have to be on the lookout for if you're using a year other than, say, 2021. But you can always look on the calendar there in his cell, and it has all the dates on there. But basically, yeah, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Labor Day, and Thanksgiving are the ones that can change depending on what year you're using. So anyway, that'll do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.